Most merciful Lord, by thine abundant goodness, this rightful man Job, with great hospitality of men and women, ever kept in perfect riches, multiplied with riches, endued with liberality, 3,000 camels, 7,000 sheep had he, 1,000 oxen in his habitation, 100 asses, as the Bible maketh mention. 7 sons and 3 daughters by his wife also, truly begotten had this holy man, which sons of custom used to do, seriatim to festin other quotidian, with mirths most melodious pleasantly then to enjoy in other, and with their sisters all in augmentation of perfect love natural. Here, lo, holy Job his children doth sanctify, and teacheth his sons without presumption to keep their feasts and ever God to magnify, and wisely to live without any detraction, and to his daughters, without an pride or elation of their native beauty, he bade them have respect. How bright Lucifer, for his pride from heaven was deject. And because in great feastings is oftentimes seen voluptuous frailty and idle loquacity, this holy Job, for all his children certain, lest they therein should sin or offend of simplicity, here offereth to God, and prayeth unto his deity, that his oblatio and holocaust might abound against their sins, if any in them were found. Lo here, the envy of this serpent and devil Satan. When he in earth had run in his perambulation, God asked of him, or he had considered his man and servant Job rightful in living by demonstration. He answered and desired power of persecution of Job, his possessions and goods that God did him send. And so he did, but not in Job his hands to extend. Here immediate beginneth Job his persecution. His asses and oxen, as they were in pasturing, by robbers of Save were taken by great oppression. There hosts of people from Calder then coming, his royal camels, all with them away leading. All his servants there slew without compassion, save one, that brought to his master relation. This tortuous serpent, our ancient enemy of hell, to bring holy Job out of his patience, rigorously his beasts killed with rancour so fell. Going in his plough and with ireful violence, his servant slew suddenly without resistance. The terrible fire with thunderclaps from heaven did fall, consumed and devoured his sheep and shepherds all, except those that to Job tidings brought of all this trouble and great misadventure. But the loss of his goods he setteth at naught, and ever thanketh God with patience pure. For of him and from him proceedeth all goods yore, unto whose goodness Job here prayeth heartily, upon the souls of his servants ever to have mercy. The mirths in instruments with harmony at the feast, where Job his children were gathered together. So merrily was touched that both most and least joyed in God, in the house of the eldest brother. And as they ate and drank, Satan, with wind and weather from the region of the desert, the house down dressed, and all the children of Job therein were oppressed. then came a messenger and told this fatal destiny of the piteous destruction of his children all. But ever Job, with patience and holy memory, looking up to heaven, to the high Father Celestial, and said,
God gave, God taketh. It is his natural. Sicut Domino placuit, factum est ita.
The scourge of sorrow this patient Job then feeling, uprose and his clothes asunder rent, fell to the earth, prayed, and this saying,
Naked out of the womb of my mother I entered. Naked unto the earth I shall be reverted.
In all this sorrowful trouble, Job sinned never, but with heart and mouth he blessed God ever. This crooked Satan to God again did revert, seeing he could not turn his man from his patience. To touch his body asked he, Job to pervert, unto whom God, of his might and magnificence, power of the body him gave without resistance, but the soul not to molest in no manner wise, so commanded him to observe as he did devise. When Satan this power had of God, full of might, and was departed from God's face omnipotent, to this rightful man Job he came full right, like a furious tiger and wood serpent, and smote him with plagues and wounds right fervent. From the foot unto the head he no joint spared. But Job, for all this, his patience ever observed. Sitting on the dunghill, this good and blessed man came his wife, and to him said,
Yet in thy simplicity, thou here art permanent. Curse thy God and die then, thou beast! Where is thy patience now in thine adversity? This shall thou never recover, transparently be.
Job said,
Foolish woman, I counsel thee, be still. For he that taketh good thing sometimes must take ill.
The leeches and physicians came then to heal the sore body of Job by crafts artificial. But with them in no wise would he then deal, for he that reigneth above in the court celestial, that suffered him to be made sore in his body all, could as lightly him heal. He said,
If his will be, wherefore the cure I remit unto his deity.
The friends of Job, of great generosity, hearing of his trouble and fatal adventure, came unto him to comfort, counsel, and see, rented their vestures for dollar and love pure, sore sorrowed and wept for his pervert shore. 7 days and nights by him then down sitting, with many diverse arguments unto him rehearsing. Here, the blessed Lord of heaven, God omnipotent, unto this holy man Job then he appeared, and sore rebuked him for that intent that he toforetime had his wife cursed, for which of God,
Mercy then, mercy.
he asked, and of forgiveness of great offence, of his hasty speaking and wilful insolence. This sore, sick man, sitting on this foul dunghill, there came minstrels before him, playing merrily. Money had he none to reward them after his will, but gave them the broad scabs of his sore body, which turned unto pure gold, as saith the story. The minstrels then showed and told to Job his wife that he so reward them, wherefore she began to strife. Then saying unto Job in anger this woman,
To minstrels and players thou givest gold largely, but thou hidest thy good from me, like a false man.
and with many seditious words openly there him rebuked, with language most sharply. Job all suffered and thought it for the best to observe patience, and so to live in rest. Like as the filth from fine gold is tried by fire, so now Job is tried from all corruption, from the bonds of false Satan and his desire, and with patience overcome hath his temptation. An angel of heaven from God bringeth relenation. Clotheth him new, maketh him whole from all manner sore, and home again resort to live as he did before. This blessed man Job thanked God of his excellence, that it pleased his incomprehensible deity so to endue him with the spirit of resistance, in patience to withstand the devil his iniquity, and of his restoration proud was never he, but ever thanked God in well and in sorrow. For today a man may be, and none in the morrow. Then spake God, full of might, unto Job his friends, and sore rebuked them for their unrightful speech, which they to Job spake by many diverse arguments, contrary to God's will, as Job did them teach. Wherefore God charged them his servant to seek and offer for themselves holocaust without delay, that his servant for their offences specially may pray. After God's commandment, these persons three unto Job came with oblation and offering, for whom unto God Job of his benignity specially for them prayed to God above living. God then, of his goodness, of all manner thing that longed to Job before, both beasts, goods, and land, double was restored by his glorious sond. Now blessed Job here maketh a royal feast to his brethren and sustren, and to his friends all, and every one of them joyed in God, both most and least. And to Job great gifts gave that were aureal, and by the pleasance of God most celestial, greater hospitality than ever he did tofore, all his life after kept he evermore. And by process of years and succession, 10 children he had by his wife again, 7 sons and 3 daughters, as is made mention. None so fair as the daughters in this world were seen. Job himself here living, to God's pleasure certain, 140 years after his flagellation, and saw the 4th degree of his generation. Lo, thus by process natural, everything draweth to end. Death spareth no creature of high nor low degree. Job in his senectutes out of the world did wend, his soul with our forefathers there to rest and be, till after the passion of Christ, but it pleased his deity him to convey, with patriarchs and prophets all, unto the perpetual joy and glory eternal. Amen.